You're talking to a friend about something random, a trip to Japan, a brand of running shoes you've never bought. You didn't search it, you didn't type it, you just said it out loud. And a few hours later, there it is, an ad for that exact thing sitting on your phone. You feel a small chill. You think it's listening. Every tech company, every single time, tells you the same thing. No, it isn't. And they're technically right. That's what makes the real answer so much stranger, because they don't need to hear you to know what you're thinking. By the end of this video, you'll understand why the truth is more unsettling than a microphone ever could be, and why the US government spent most of last year suing the companies who do this for a living. Most of them you've never heard of. All of them know where you slept last night. Let's get the obvious one out of the way first, because almost everyone has had this experience, and almost everyone reaches the same conclusion. The phone is eavesdropping. So is your phone secretly recording you all day and feeding it to advertisers? The boring, frustrating answer is probably not. Constantly recording audio would burn
even
through
if
your
the screen
battery,
goes to
eat
sleep.
your data, and leave a fingerprint security researchers comb for constantly. People have looked for years. No one has found the smoking gun. So if that were the whole story, this would be a very short video. But here's the thing that should bother you more than a hidden microphone ever could. They get the same result without listening at all. And once you see how, you can't unsee it. The system that finds you isn't built around your voice. It's built around your behavior, your location, and the people standing near you. And it is astonishingly good at its job. Start with the simplest piece. You are extraordinarily predictable, and you're predictable in groups. The friend you were talking to about Japan, if they searched flights last week and your phones regularly show up in the same place at the same time, an advertiser can infer a connection between you. Their interest becomes a signal about you. You didn't have to search anything. Someone close to you did, and you're standing in their data shadow. Now layer on location. Your phone broadcasts where it is all day to dozens of apps. So the system already knows you walked past a running store, lingered near the shoe wall, then left. It knows your friend who mentioned the shoes lives near you and visited the same store. It doesn't need the conversation. It reconstructed the context around the conversation. But that's still not the part that feels like magic. The part that feels like magic has a name, and it is quietly listening, just not for your words. It's called ultrasonic cross-device tracking. Companies hide little bursts of sound inside TV commercials, websites, in-store speakers, and ads. These tones sit at a frequency too high for you to hear, but well within range of the microphone already sitting in your pocket. When an app on your phone has mic permission and is built to listen for these beacons, your phone quietly raises its hand and says, "That's me. I'm in this room. I heard this ad." And just like that, your TV, your laptop, and your phone get stitched together into one profile belonging to one person. You. This isn't a theory. Researchers in Germany cataloged more than 200 Android apps quietly listening for these inaudible signals. The same technology was even shown to be capable of unmasking people using anonymity tools like Tor by making a nearby phone leak its identity. The technology that links your devices for an ad can strip away the privacy you thought you had. But here is where it stops being a curiosity and starts being a market. All of this, the location pings, the household clustering, the ultrasonic stitching, produces data. And that data flows to a class of company most people have never heard of. They're called data brokers. They are the quiet engine room of the entire ad industry. The way it works is mundane and unsettling at the same time. A free app you've installed, could be a weather app, a flashlight, a coupon app, a fitness tracker, a game, collects your location in the background. That data is bundled up and sold to a data broker. The broker stitches it together with location data from thousands of other apps, attaches a persistent identifier so they can recognize you across all of them, then resells the combined profile to advertisers, hedge funds, insurance companies, and in some cases, government agencies. You never met this company. You never agreed to anything with their name on it, but they have a record of where you sleep, where you work, where you pray, and where you get medical care. And we know that level of detail is real because the US government has spent the last 2 years suing the companies who do it. In January 2024, the Federal Trade Commission brought its first ever settlement banning a data broker from selling sensitive location data. The company was Xmode Social. The FTC said Xmode had been selling precise location records that could be used to track people's visits to medical clinics, places of worship, and other sensitive sites. A few weeks later, a second company called InMarket got hit with a similar order. Then, in December of that same year, the FTC went bigger. And it went after Mobile Wallet, which had allegedly built profiles tracking visits to military bases, health clinics, and churches. Read that list again. Military bases, health clinics, churches. None of those data points came from the people being tracked, telling anyone where they were going. They came from a weather app, a coupon app, a free game, the kind of app you install in 10 seconds and forget about. The FTC's position was simple. Geolocation data can reveal not just where a person lives and who they spend time with, but which medical treatments they seek and where they worship. That's not advertising, that's a profile. And here's where it loops back to that conversation about Japan. You said the word out loud near your phone, and maybe your phone never heard it, but somewhere in the system, it knew you were home at night with the TV on. It knew the travel commercial that played. It knew your friend 2 miles away just booked a flight. It knew you'd lingered on a travel reel last Tuesday, 4 seconds longer than usual. Stack all of that together, and the system doesn't need to have heard you. It already had enough to guess, and it guessed right. That's what makes it feel like listening. It's actually something closer to prediction. But the deepest part is this. Even if every microphone on Earth were switched off tomorrow, the ads would barely change. Because the most valuable data was never your voice. It's your behavior. How long you pause on a post. What you almost bought and didn't. Who you stand next to. Where you go on Tuesdays. Your voice is occasional and messy. Your behavior is constant, silent, and brutally honest. They stopped needing to listen a long time ago because watching turned out to work better. The "is my phone listening" question is almost a comfort, really, because a microphone you can cover. This, you can't. And there's one more layer the FTC quietly exposed that almost nobody talks about. Every time an app on your phone has an empty ad slot, your phone sends out a tiny digital auction notice in milliseconds. Hundreds of companies see that notice. One of them wins and serves you the ad. The rest, they get to keep the data anyway. They lost the auction, but they still saw who you are and where you are. So when you wonder why an ad feels like it's reading your mind, remember that you are being auctioned in the background hundreds of times a day, and most of the bidders are not advertisers, they're collectors. So what can you actually do about it? You can't switch off being predictable, but you can shrink the surface. 3 moves genuinely move the needle. First, go into your phone's settings and audit which apps have microphone access and revoke it for anything that has no business hearing you. A flashlight app, a game, a random utility listening for ultrasonic beacons has no reason to hold that permission. Second, turn off your phone's advertising identifier. On iPhone, that's in Settings under Privacy and Tracking, where you can also turn on Ask App Not to Track for everything. On Android, look for Delete Advertising ID in the Ads section of your privacy settings. This meaningfully breaks the thread that links your behavior into one profile. Third, tighten location permissions to while using the app instead of always, and turn location off entirely for any app that doesn't truly need it. Your calculator does not need to know where you live. None of this makes you invisible. Be honest with yourself about that. As long as you carry a phone and live near other people who carry phones, you live inside a web of inference you can't fully step out of. But there's a real difference between being tracked by default and being tracked because you decided the trade was worth it. So here's what I keep coming back to. We were all worried about the microphone, the one thing we could picture, the one thing we could cover with a piece of tape. And while we watched the mic, the real listening was happening somewhere we never thought to look, in our own patterns, sold by companies whose names we don't know, to buyers we'll never meet. So I'll ask you, now that you know it isn't really the microphone, does that make you feel better or a whole lot worse? Tell me in the comments.